Hi, this is Sapna Bharti, and today we have with us Chris Aniszczyk, CTO of CNCF. So first of all, thanks for being in the show.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here.
You have forged a partnership with GitLab.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about the partnership.
Yeah, sure. So, stepping back a little bit is, for CNCF, our projects, are welcome to choose whatever tools, they want to use to make sure that, they're successful themselves, because we believe our project developers and maintainers know best, right? And so what generally CNCF does is we tend to try to strike, deals and partnerships with, different types of companies out there that provide either, CI/CD, security scanning, license scanning. And so, we've been talking with GitLab for a while. We've had projects, use and experiment with GitLab, and, talking to them, we've decided to, strike a, partnership deal where all or any CNCF project that, requires GitLab CI/CD will have an option that is significantly higher than their kind of, a basic plan that they have for open source projects. So, projects will be able to get, 250,000, CI/CD minutes, per month essentially. And, we're happy to see our projects start to experiment, with another offering. So I think part of this has kind of led to, the announcement, I think it was earlier this year earlier this year or last year, but it was essentially with Travis CI, being acquired. Travis CI kind of became the default CI/CD solution out there for a lot of projects. And with the acquisition, a lot of projects are like, oh, like what else? Like, after like not touching things for years, they're like, oh, let's see what else is out there potentially. And so a lot of our projects were evaluating different, options. GitLab was one of them. And so we're just like super stoked that, GitLab has decided to do this for our projects and offer it as a benefit. So we're completely, thankful and happy that they've joined, our kind of list of, organizations that we have partnerships with.
What impact do you think this will have on the projects, this partnership?
I think it's more of like, they have another very compelling, offering to choose from, so, GitLab CI is not the only one, like, lots of, like, looking at CNCF, like we did like an audit recently. I think we have projects using probably at least like 5 different CI/CD tools, but this is just a more compelling option, for them because they get, more minutes, and of course they get to take advantage of all the work that happens in the GitLab CI/CD community. And honestly, I personally, it's one of my favorite tools because everything is generally open source and available. So if projects tend to have issues, they could actually also contribute back, upstream or file things directly with the company. And I think they've just done a very good job about being transparent about their future plans, roadmap. As you're well aware, GitLab is very open about things from, here's how we run, here's our handbook, here's how we operate, here's our public roadmap, and then so on. So I'm just happy to have another great option for our projects.
Of course, you want to be neutral, because just the way CNCF has to be.
Yeah.
And you did touch upon some of the compelling reasons, but what are the other things which sets GitLab apart? Once again, they're all your babies, so you don't pick and choose.
No, we don't pick and choose or favor anything. Like, like I said, I think GitLab's, kind of, competitive, differentiation is like, it's fully, open source. Anyone's able to contribute. They even have fully open, roadmap, which is almost like another level of open source. And then they tend to have a concept of runners, right? Which is very similar to like, Jenkins agents that you could run everywhere, right? And so you could actually take the GitLab runner and bring it to your own cloud or on-prem offering. And so we have some projects that, hey, it's very easy to run the GitLab runner on the CNCF community cluster, which we have available for projects. So I think that's really their biggest differentiation, is the concept of runners, that you could bring them to any of your cloud provider or on-prem, option. And it's a fully open source offering. So it's kind of, those are, I think, probably their best compelling offerings, but like we'll see how the space evolves, over time.
When you look at all these projects at CNCF, and when it comes to tooling, what are the top challenges that you have come across that projects face?
Generally, developers and maintainers on the ground that work in open source tend to kind of have very good preferences and noses for kind of what to actually use. I just think like depending on what part of that landscape is, like, on the CI/CD side, for example, there's tons of options. There's no portability amongst them, which like personally bothers me, because like I've been converting like Travis CI files to like, GitLab, or Travis CI to like Azure pipelines, like you're basically writing the same thing, but it has a different format. That really bothers me, and I hope that gets solved over time, where there's a little bit more portability of pipelines in the future. But like lots of choice out there for our projects in terms of tools they want to use, and we just don't want to like use what's best. Has always been our motto. I think having all this choice, all this like plethora of riches of options is good, because it's like market forces. These things compete. Better features get produced, and it just is better for developers, in the long run, because you get better tools out of it, in my opinion.
Any of these challenges which are specific to CI?
Like I say, my biggest frustration with CI/CD is just the lack of portability. It is absolutely like insane how hard it is to move across these things. It's like if you look at Kubernetes, one of the original reasons of Kubernetes was to allow a little bit more portability across different clouds and so on. And if you look at the CI/CD space, you have kind of the similar problems where you have all these different tools, and they're basically all just defining like a pipeline. Here's a set of tasks, here's how I want to run them, and they're all defined in different ways. Like I would really hope that we get to a point where this gets a little bit standardized along the run. And that's actually been a complaint from our projects, is like, my Travis build is working, I'd like to move to a new one, but like I don't want to have the time to like redo the configuration file. Can I just like write a tool that will like go convert it into something else? So, I think in the future, as we have all this competition flourishing in the CI/CD space, they kind of step back and look at and talk to some of the maintainers and developers out there who, may struggle with, moving, to different build systems and CI/CD tools out there. So that's just my own personal complaint.